All right. Hello and welcome. I'm back with Lorenzo. It's been a while. It's been, gosh, I don't know, at least 3 or 4 months since we've chatted,
Three or
probably
4 months.
longer.
Yep.
4 months, yeah. Lorenzo had a bit of a break from the old interwebs. And I've been traveling around and all this stuff, but we thought we'd get back and have a bit of a chat about today about Confusionism. Confusionism, that's of course a religion I followed while I was growing up. I was always confused about this world. So how you going, mate? Good to have you back.
Yeah, nice to be back. I'm doing good. I mean, it's interesting to be in the limelight, so to speak, and to see, what I am fused to. This is how we got to Confusionism. Campbell and I we were talking about being confused, and that, what are you fusing yourselves to? What are you deciding to follow? What are you plugging into in a way to, another word for fuse. So you fuse something together as you connect with it. I guess when you're welding something, you fuse it together. Or the old style fuses used to spin in a long time ago. When I went into my parents' basement, I blew a fuse or even the car fuse. So I think it has to do, as Campbell said, with what you plug into, what you decide you're going to follow, and what you focus on is what you can bring to your life. And as Campbell said, we've all been confused growing up. Confucianism was my religion as well. And I guess today we're going to talk about, some of our past and perhaps how some strategies on how you can personally, if you feel like it, get over anything that is confusing you.
Yeah, and don't blow your fuse while you do it, right? um, yeah, I mean, I was actually thinking about this. I wasn't thinking about our chat, but just the same kind of concepts last night for some reason. Life's like that, right? And we kind of know, right? Life's not what it gives us; it's how we react to it. Because
Mm.
as long we do have a lot of choice as far as what we do, how we create our life, and what we interact with and experience, but we don't have total control, man. Like life tends to throw curveballs, and if you look at these things as, poor little me, oh my God, why me? Um, that's not a good way to react, but then the world owns you, right? It takes control. The outer world is controlling you, but you always have that choice to react in a different way. What can I learn from this? How do I stop being confused, right? How do I stop the confusion of life? And that's really to make your own decisions. But to make your own decisions, you kind of need to know where you're coming from and where you're going.
I 1,000% agree. I found for myself, the challenge was always when I was confused and that I didn't know myself. I didn't know my story. I didn't know where I was coming from. Campbell and I talked about this a little bit in one of our first meetings a few days ago, but understanding your story, where you came from, who you are, and how you got here. Because if you don't understand your story, Campbell said it best. I even wrote it down. If you're not willing to read your story, how can you change your story? Right. And
Mm.
and and it's not that you have to change your story or you need to change your story. It's just that if you're feeling confused, something in your life is upsetting you, if you're not happy in 1 or 7 or 8 or 9 ways, and you want to change, well then I found for myself, I need to know what I need to change. I need to know how I need to change, and I need to know how it's not working. And again, as Campbell said beautifully, the world may throw whatever at you. It may throw gold, it may throw asparagus, it may throw rotten tomatoes, it may throw, some dung at your feet. But how you act or react in that moment, is how your reality is going to shift or not shift or share something with you. You could laugh, you can cry, you can get angry, you can go somewhere else. And really, when I say the only person you can change is yourself, is simply because after you change that, then your reality can change. You may influence other people, but seriously, and in the end, if there's change coming, even if you're influenced by someone else, you are the only one that can make that change or change your fusion, even fusion reactors, right? That's another one, right? Energetic reactors.
Fusion
It's all
reactor.
very connected and yeah, and interesting. Yeah.
Yes, and hello to everyone in chat, by the way. Thanks for being here. Um, yeah, I mean, what if it's a con, right? I mean, this is the thing, and I've kind of harped on about this for a while. Like you can't change anyone else. You can't. Like go up to someone and tell them to change and see what happens. And put on top of that, what would you do if someone came up to you and told you to change? You'd tell them to go away in probably not so many words, right? Um, but you can change yourself, because we live in two worlds, guys. You've got your own world, your internal world. We all live in our own little world, and we've got the external world, and we can choose to let the external world be, the biggest factor in our lives, or we can choose for the internal world to be the biggest factor. And from my perspective, if you're letting the outside world control your inner world, then you've lost the game. You're a wash. You're floating out in an ocean, right, with no paddle, because people will do whatever they want. They will take advantage of you. People aren't necessarily nice. Most people are good people, but there's anomalies everywhere, guys. So if the world has to change for you to be happy, then good luck. Go out and change the minds of 8 billion people, right? Or that's how many they say, however many people are on the realm. You can't do that. But if you're the problem, because it's all your fault, guys, you can just go to the mirror and you can change yourself. And that's a doable thing that we can all do. So, don't be confused about where the power lies and where the influence is coming from. It's all you. It's all you.
And I think if you notice in what something triggers you, it's really interesting too. Even recently, I met a fellow online that has a whole, but I'm not going to mention any names or his programs, but let's just say it's all about facing fears, right? So he's got his whole work. He's an older fellow, and I met a whole bunch of older fellows like this, and he's done works and books and recommendations and videos all about facing fears. And so we said hello, and I sent him some of my links, some of the videos I've done with Campbell and myself, 4 or 5 months ago. And his first comment to me, it was funny, is that how I am wrong. He doesn't know me, doesn't say anything, but I'm wrong when I said you can't change anybody. All you can do is change it. He sent me this long email. He says, I don't mean to offend you, but of course we change everyone. Of course you do this. Of course you're in a relationship, you change. But not one comment. Yeah, I know. It's like, so this, and I got this email back like a half an hour ago. So it's showing me what I'm doing, what I'm sharing, and not one comment on how he's wrong, how he maybe needs to change. He's just psychoanalyzing being an addiction and different kinds of rebels, like in all these certain categories, like a twisted rebel, a fake rebel, a real rebel, like basically all these categories, and all this effort, just instead of turning the mirror around, as Campbell said, looking in the mirror going, well, how am I wrong? Like why, when I meet someone for the first time, do I have to spend all my energy telling them how they're wrong? I mean, it's, who hasn't met somebody, and I've met thousands of them, and so is Campbell, that know how to change the world for everybody. Like I've got it, and I'm gonna. If everyone listens to me, the world's great. And I've seen people literally send me 1,000 rules and 25 pages on websites, just telling me this is how the world will change and it'll be beautiful. And I'll go, well, what about you? Why have you been divorced 4 times? Why do your kids not speak to you? Why are you old and unhappy? Why is your face drooping when you're 65 and you look like you're 165 or whatever? And then they won't talk to you anymore, or they'll get angry with you.
Oh yeah, man, we gotta love the trolls, but I mean, they're there to teach us as well, right? Like I said, we can't change anyone, but we can influence them. We can do that, but I mean, again, that's not a given. You can't influence someone in the way you necessarily want to, right? Because they're going to perceive it from their perspective. So all you can do is your best, and focus on yourself, right, on the inner world, and become better. Like, the way to change the world is not to go around and tell everyone how to live, not to tell them you've got the answers, because like Lorenzo said, no one's got the answers to everything. And if someone claims to, I would run the other way and get away from that person, because you're not dealing with a person, you're dealing with an ego, with someone who will not look at themselves, who basically, it's really low self-esteem, right? It's a facade. It's the persona that they're trying to build up, that they're so great and they're so good and everyone should listen to them. But no one has the answers. But you can listen to yourself. You can have discussions. You can influence people. But in the end, to stop the confusion, go inside. Like talk to yourself. Who are you? What do you really want? How are you reacting to what life's throwing at you? Because it's going to keep throwing things at you. And this is the thing, it can throw, dark holes at you that you can never get out of, or it can throw obstacles and challenges which are there to help you grow, to get better. Because when you decide you want something different, the world, the universe, whatever you want to call it, will go, really? and it will throw something at you. And that's the test. That's the test. If it's not a challenge, and if you don't use it to better yourself and learn, you failed. I'm sorry, but in my perspective, you've failed because you're still in the same place. Nothing's happened. There's been no growth there. So how can you become someone different, which you need to do if you want something different? How can you become someone different if you stay the same? Right? It's kind of logical to
I
me.
mean, even if you can't really change yourself beyond, we all have our core ideas, our core ideals, our core beliefs. Maybe they never really 100% change, but you can certainly change your actions, right? Like if you get angry at a certain place, you can grow up enough to realize when that happens again, maybe you don't get angry. You try a different tack, which literally, I guess, when you're tacking on a boat means you're changing direction, right? So take a different tack, take a different, fuse yourself to something other than anger at that moment. Maybe fuse yourself to understanding or acceptance. I mean, I saw someone said vote Trump. I mean, my personal thing is, elect to govern yourself. I've been saying that for 15, 20 years. And what that basically means is make choices for yourself, through yourself. Campbell, in my opinion, is 1,000% right that if you try and change anyone else, you've lost the game. I mean, Campbell shared that story many times about the criminal father and one guy becoming a criminal and the other one becoming a lawyer, right? The two twin sons, right? And like, how could I be anything but my father was a criminal? Or how could I be anything but my father was a criminal? And, similar experiences, but they decided by themselves what to do from that. They made their own changes. So, an influence can go anyway. So trying to change anyone really is, good luck with that. As Kelma said, I strongly feel you'll just stay confused and waste your time and mostly become old, angry, and bitter because it's never going to happen.
Yeah, yeah. And what are your results? People don't often look at their results. Like when you do something, how did it go? What happened? Did it work? If it didn't work, do it again, right? Because again, there's no mistakes, right? Only mistakes. The only mistake is not learning from a challenge. There's only mistakes. Just take two, take three, take 550 if you need to. It's like in the movies, if they've got a scene and the director's like, okay, act, or whatever they say, and it doesn't go well, the director doesn't throw up his arms and walk out and go, oh my God, now there's no movie. He just goes, oh, well, take two, do it better. And that's life, right? The whole world is a stage. And we are we're the main actor of our play. And yet, no matter how you want to see it, no one will see the world like you do. Even if you have a conversation, you're like, oh yeah, man, this person gets it. They understand. They see the world. They don't. They don't. They might have a few things that are similar, but I mean, who would want to live in a world where everyone agrees with you? I mean, how boring. That means you come in here and you leave the same person. To me, life's about growing and learning. And if you're on your deathbed and you're like, well, I did well, I started and I ended the same person. Nothing. I mean, come on. It's like the old lady, who they interviewed on her deathbed, and they're like, well, what would your advice be to someone just starting out in life? And she said, well, I would dance more, I would sing more, I wouldn't care what other people said. Basically I would be me and I would have fun. And that's what we've got to do. That the world's not here to dictate to you how to live, but it is here to throw lessons at us, and we learn through challenges. I mean, as I have, I've had many of them in the last 4 years especially, and I've had many occasions where I could have thrown up my arms or my arm and given up and said, oh, poor little me, why did this happen to me? Look at all these other people, they don't have to deal with this stuff. But where would I be? Like where would I be today? I mean, probably rocking back and forth in a bloody, what are those jackets called in lunatic asylums? A straight jacket.
Straight
I mean,
jackets. Yeah, straight jackets.
yeah. I mean, this is the thing. We all get choice, guys, and if you fuse yourself to a certain way of thinking, a certain way of doing things, and you're unmovable from that, then you're going to end up very confused about why life isn't working out for you.
And I took my 4 months off because like I was never going to come back, to be honest, because I had ran out of steam in trying to share what I thought was the right way for people to be. So I'm going to put myself in the other jar. As much as I thought I wasn't trying to change the world to make a better place, in many ways I was. I think everyone, many ways I said, well, if you do this, you'll be better. If you do that, you'll be better. If you do these other things, you'll have a better life. And it's not necessarily true. You don't have to do anything, right? You can continue to have a horrible life. You can continue to have a good life. You can continue any way you want to. But really what it comes down to is if you want something different, or if you're choosing a different way to be, or for one reason or 1,000 reasons you're not happy, or you feel something could be better, then the advice Campbell and I have been sharing in this particular chat is that look to yourself for those changes, because, well, number one, then you don't have to wait. Like I said, if you're sitting in a room by yourself, you can make those changes immediately. You don't have to you don't have to save money, you don't have to get permission, you don't have to ask your mommy or daddy or wife or husband or your you don't have to ask Trump if it's okay. You just go out and make those changes, and whatever challenges come, that's great. But that is what is perhaps preventing you from making the change is your ideas about money, your ideas about life, your ideas about politics. Campbell shared something really interesting with me as well on somebody he knows, always seeing chemtrails, and so they're following him and bothering him and always clouding his day. And I did the same thing, right? I used to go, oh my goodness, they're spraying us, we're dying like bugs. And then I noticed over the last 4 months, when I just stopped, more sunny days, less chemtrails, less influences on me. I pretty much think we come in as gods, each and every one of us. I'm not putting myself anywhere. And by being a god, I mean you make your dream, you can make your reality, irregardless of the challenges that maybe you have that you didn't ask for, you don't think you asked for. I'm strongly starting to see for myself, and that's all I can talk about, is when I change myself, when I change my perspective. I don't mean a mental change, I mean a deep down physical and change in action and energy. Everything changes for me.
Yeah, man. Don't follow the pack, right? Be a contrarian. Don't be part of the group thing. But then this is the thing. I mean, Trump's going to change the world. Woohoo! I mean, look, when it gets down to it, if I was living in America and I had to vote, I would vote Trump, right? But the problem is, if you're looking at the outside world to change your life, to change your inner world, you have given away your power. Because what if Trump doesn't get in? Then what happens? Then you get angry and you start yelling at the system and, oh my God, this person's blah, blah, blah. You have choice, guys. You have choice. You can live your life however you want. But as soon as you give that power to the outside world, you don't have choice. You don't, because all of your mental states and your reactions are going to be based on what's happening outside of you, and you don't have control of that, right? And I see someone wrote, I don't know, what was it? Money's evil, or money's a trap, or whatever. Look, if you believe it, then it's true. But I mean, I guarantee, if I walked up to everyone in the chat and said, here's $1 million, you can have it, they would all take it. And what? So suddenly money's not evil? Look, money's only evil when you're having a problem getting it. If you've got lots of it and you can do whatever you want, and without thinking, you can travel, you can live where you want, bills coming, you just pay them, right? Then how's money evil? If it's giving you a better lifestyle, if you use it to go and feed starving children in Africa, how is money evil? It's all a perception, right? Money, nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so.
Roy, telling people the truth and they hate you, well, maybe because you're trying to tell them their truth, right? It's I found the same thing. If someone disagreed with me, I used to get angry, right? And I'm going like, wait a minute, why am I getting angry? They're disagreeing with me. Good. Right? I can talk with them, I could not, I can share with them, I could not, I could go the other way, I can have a conversation, I could have nothing to say. It's really up to me. My anger is my responsibility. Why I'm upset, why I am feeling threatened or irritated or what have you, because I found anytime you have a threat or an irritation, or you're upset or you're angry or even you're sad, something is coming up for you to look at about yourself.
Yes.
And yeah, something is coming up. Like, why does this make you angry? Why do you feel threatened? Why does that make you sad? How many times people have said, "Oh, don't say that, you're depressing me," or "Oh my goodness, I was just about to, now it's your fault, I lost my confidence," or "Oh my goodness, you said the wrong thing at the wrong time and now you ruined my whole day." I mean, I've said all of those things to lots of people in my life, and I realized back as I've sat over these last 4 months, I was always literally getting angry with myself, talking to myself, and they were just giving me opportunities, to stand in my truth, right? I'm going to be great today. You're horrible. Oh, no. They're saying, are you sure you want to be great today? Right? I'm going to be happy today. Well, your shoes don't fit or whatever. Oh, I'm not happy today. I mean, these are silly examples, but the bottom line really is if you decide to be happy and you get challenged, it's up to you to stand up to the challenge or to blame and run away screaming like a baby, which is, I don't think anything's been bred out of us. Somebody said, I think we've been programmed quite literally from a young age to not take the imaginative approach, and I do mean imagination, to access everything that's possible for us. I don't think God or Spirit or Buddha or the great all of everything or whatever you want to call that allowed us to have this life, and really, really, it is a gift to be alive, would not give you everything you need to have the best life possible. So I firmly have found out for myself, we all have everything we need. It's just a matter of accessing it, and no one can access it but you, for yourself.
And totally, man, and do something. If you're upset because children are starving or being trafficked or whatever, oh my God, it's such an evil world. Well, guess what? You now know that's happening. So do something about it. Go out and change the world. That's what you have the power to do, right? Like this whole thing that's gone on in the last 4 years, and obviously before then, a lot of people are like, oh my God, it's so bad. Look what they're doing. They, them. The way I see it is it's all lessons, right? It's all showing us, look, this is what's going on. Are you going to put up with it? Are you going to let these people rule your lives, or are you going to do something different? Because again, you always have choice. And as far as trying to wake people up, why are you doing that? Why
Yeah.
why are you doing it? What's the point? Are you doing it to make yourself feel better, to put yourself up above? Well, I know what's going on with the world, and these fools don't. They're all NPCs. I mean, where's that coming from? That's ego. If you really want to change the world, be the best person you can be. Because I guarantee you, the people who are ready to change and looking for a bit of inspiration, they'll see you, right? And they'll go, wow, and you'll inspire them. That's how you change the world. You be the best person you can be. You don't go around telling people to change. Because like I said before, what are you going to do if someone walks up to you and goes, mate, you got to change. You're wrong, right? You need to vote this way. You need to go and get this in your arm. You need to blah, blah, blah. Because that's exactly what we do when we go to these, the people who don't know, right? And try and tell them. Everyone's on their own journey, guys. Their journey is not your journey. Your journey is not their journey. Let people learn. Let people have their own life. It's a ladder, and we're not all on the same rung, right? So again, the best way, if you want to change, don't, fuse yourself back to the topic. Don't fuse yourself with belief systems. Just live your life and be the best person you can be. That's it.
And if you don't know how to do that, that's a good place to start. I mean, that really comes down to it. If you're sitting in a room and you want something that you don't have, or you feel like something should change for your life, that's not exactly how you feel it should be. And again, it's you talking to yourself. That's your first step. Like, I don't know how to make money. Then do some research. I don't know how to get healthy. Then do some research. I don't know how to, change my countries or my relationships or my political circumstances or my whatever, right? Or if whatever's not working for you, the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to find out for yourself why it's not working for you and how you can change it for yourself.
Mm.
I mean, it's taken me 30 years to realize how stupid I've been. I have to be honest. It's taken me a long time to get to the point, where and it goes deeper. Like every day I'm going, wow, how am I still making mistakes about my own life? And getting angry with my wife, or not being honest with myself, or not sharing the best I can with my friends. It's why I stopped doing videos for 4 months. I wanted to see what's going on with me so I could understand what was missing, what I was missing, not what someone needed to give me, not what someone needed to change for me. I had to see what I needed to change for myself so that I can come back into the public. Let's say we're being public here, we're publicizing ourselves, and maybe give something of myself. Again, not give rules, not give ways to be, but I can give something of my own experience that maybe can help someone if they feel the need to be influenced by something that worked for me, and maybe they want to try it for themselves. And really, that's about the best I think any of us can do, is lead by example, as they say. And
Yeah.
let's see what happens from there.
Yeah, man. Like, be the change you want to see. Everyone runs around, saying these quotes. Be the change you want to see in the world, and then they walk up to someone and tell them how they need to change. But I mean, I think that was great. Very good quote, Lorenzo. Like, good point, Lorenzo. Is don't spend your time working out how smart you are. Spend your time working out how stupid you are. Right?
Yeah.
Because if you're smart and you know everything, guess what? You don't need to change, which means you're going to be in the same position next year, 5 years, 10 years that you are now. But how stupid are you? Where are you going wrong? How are you being dumb and making stupid decisions, right? That's where the learning is. That's where the growth is. And like Lorenzo said, if you want something, go out and educate yourself, guys. What's the name of this channel? Autodidactic. Be self-educated. It's only you, right? If you're out there running around asking everyone else for their advice and taking that might work for them. If you want money and you ask broke people, well, that's not a good idea. But even if you ask millionaires, how do I get rich? That's not a guarantee that if you do what they did, that you'll be rich too, because you're not them. You're not them. You've got to find your own path. And bringing it back to me, I've recently started a new business because I needed money, and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I started a business. You wouldn't believe how many people that triggered. Oh my God. And guess what? My life's got nothing to do with them. Like, my business, my income, but people think that it does. How dare you do this? What are you doing? Like, guys, and I know I'm not talking to anyone directly here, but in general, like, just keep your nose in your own lane. Focus on, and this is why people don't get where they want to go, because they spend their lives looking at other people and judging them and telling them what they want to do rather than looking in the mirror. So that's a very confusing place to live. Like, oh my God, no one's changing, and so my life isn't changing. Well, duh. and you should only have to have that lesson so many times, right? If you're getting the same thing pop up all the time in your life, you're on a roundabout, guys. That's the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, telling you you're not learning this lesson. There's a saying, right? When you need to learn something, God will tap you on the shoulder. If you ignore that, he'll slap you over the head. If you ignore that, he'll pick you up and body slam you. And if you ignore that, he'll send a Mack truck to smack you down, because you will learn the lesson, or else you'll just stay where you are. And that is another lesson that's the biggest lesson. You don't want to be there, right? You don't want to be the person in 5 years that you are today. I mean, that means that all you've done is existed and you haven't actually lived.
Perhaps the most confusing thing is a maze. You get stuck in a maze. I could suggest what's worked for me is I get out of my head, which seems like an endless repetition of echoes and thoughts. Anybody that's mentioned anything about the news here, and I've seen a few people, what about this? What about that? What about the starving kids in Africa? That's an old one. Heard that one a million times. So that's a dead end as a thought. And even if it's true, what are you going to do about it? I mean, if you pick yourself up maybe and go to Africa and grow some food for them, good, then maybe you're doing something to help. But to sit around and say I should feel bad because, or I can't do this in the other way, or is part of what you're trapping yourself, fusing yourself to, confusing yourself, manacling yourself to an idea that's simply telling you can't do anything. Basically that's really what it comes down to is, oh my goodness, I can't do anything because of this or because of that or because of the other thing. And who knows how long we're supposed to live? Who knows how smart we can get? Who knows what our powers are? Campbell's done hundreds of videos on alternative human or so-called human ways of being alive, whether it's how you eat, how you grow, how you imagine, how you reproduce or not, what you create. So there's endless possibilities. And by endless, imagine it's something you haven't thought of yet, right? Imagine your imagination can grow bigger than your. Most people I found when they argue with you can consider that there's something they don't know yet. I mean, maybe that's really a good direction to take, is to realize, you don't know everything. It's impossible. Even if you've been alive 80, 90 years, it's such a short time. How can anybody, like, I don't get that. How can anybody think they know everything in the short time they've been alive, especially for the entire population, the entire world? It boggles my mind that anybody can go there. It boggles my mind that I went there too. I have to say, I'm not, pointing finger back at myself. I used to be there. Oh, I've got the answers for everyone. They'll be fantastic if they listen to me. Of course, didn't work.
No, man. What's that phrase? The more you know, that you don't know. I mean, that's it. Like we live in an ever expanding, universe, world, realm, whatever you want to call it. And no matter what direction you want to go in, it will open up and expand. It's like, history, right? His story. Like when I started looking into it, I started with a few bits, a mud flood and a star fort and maps. And it just went and just like got so big because I was focusing on it. It expands. Whatever you focus on, it expands, guys. And I did see I got a few comments on money after stating that. Well, one thing I would say is if you believe that it's hard keeping it, that's you creating that. Wealth actually doesn't come from the outside, guys. Wealth comes from the inside. We all have infinite wealth inside of us. We just have to realize that and become that, and then we can interact with it, right? As long as we're telling ourselves something's hard or something's bad or something's, evil, or how dare they do that, you're shutting yourself down. You're blocking yourself. You're stopping your energy flow. So if money's hard to get, that's what you're putting out to the world, and that's what you're going to interact with. Now, I'm not saying if you just say, well, money is easy to get or whatever, right? Relationships are easy to get, or I'm not saying that that's going to change your world instantly, but that's where you start. And you educate yourself, you look at yourself, you go inside, and the more that you become what you want to receive, the more you'll receive it. It's really that simple, and so it is all to do with being the person that you want to be. You've got to be it first, right? You've got to be it first, and then you'll bring it out of yourself and you'll get to interact with it. And no matter what that is, money's just an easy example, right? Because believe it or not, most people need money. I hear all this talk, oh, the money system's evil and it's all fiat currency. And look, that's true. But how is that belief system helping you? Can you live a life without money? Can you go and find, the house of your dreams and go up to the owner and go, hey, well, I've got 49 watermelons here. Do you want to do a trade? They ain't going to take it, guys. Money is what people deal in. So, that's one thing I have noticed is a lot of people have money issues, but they have money issues on the outside because they have money issues on the inside. So it's like with them, if you want a better relationship with your partner or kids, or if you want to start a relationship, you need to be that person first. It's not about anyone else changing. That's the confusion. That's the confusing bit, is I'll get everyone to change and then my life will be better. No. You need to change. I need to change. Lorenzo needs to change. And guys, guess what? That's all that exists. The only thing is change. The only constant in life is change.
And maybe if you're having troubles with money, people say money's this, money's a tool, money's that. Give me gold, give me a silver, whatever. Give me shells. Give me frozen mangoes. Maybe if you look at each individual challenge you have in relation to money, like you can't find where you want to live, or you don't have the food you would like, or you're stressed because of bills, whatever it is, if you focus on one issue at a time for yourself, maybe you'll find that you do need money for something. Like Campbell said, maybe someone's selling their house, they're not going to take 40 watermelons, that's fine, but maybe you don't need that house. Maybe you don't need to live in that city. Maybe you need to move. Maybe you don't need maybe you don't need those fancy shoes or the Mercedes car. Maybe you don't need these things, or maybe you do. But if you decide that you need these things, then you're putting yourself under the thumb of the monetary system. If you say, well, I need lots of money, okay, but then you have to go work in such a way that you're making lots of money, and it's going to be good for you or bad or happy or sad. Instead of, maybe it's not the money you want, maybe you need lots of friends, maybe you need lots of companions, maybe you need lots of security, maybe you need a better living circumstances. Let's say that lots of people. So if you need better living, why don't you ask directly for better living circumstances instead of, I need to make $10,000 so I can buy better living circumstances. I mean, therein lies the challenge. Campbell shared many stories over the years on how, money didn't bring him what he was looking for, but the world helped him get what he was looking for directly and indirectly, right? And debt is not a prison, right? All these people say that, like, if you fall into it, that's the challenge, right? So yes, you could say being in debt is a prison, but it's more like it's your thoughts about the debt that put you in your cage, that maze. So you fused yourself to what debt means, or you fused yourself to what money means, or you fused yourself to somebody's ideas of what is possible or not. I read one of the best quotes is like, I'm not going to participate in agreement. Like, I'm not going to agree to agreements that I didn't participate in. That was the quote. So like, all these agreements that were made before I was born, or all these agreements people seem to make on how you should be or how you shouldn't be, no one asked my opinion for myself. So essentially, it comes back down to, if you're confused, fuse yourself back to yourself and figure out what's confusing you about yourself. Maybe something will work better for your ideas when you allow new ones to come to you.
Yeah, I mean, this, it's not supposed to be a talk about money, but Lorenzo is 100% true. It's not the money that anyone wants. It's what they can use the money to get. Right. And someone said, oh, well, the earth's our home. We don't need houses. Well, I raised 2 children. What am I supposed to go? Was I supposed to live in the bush with them? I mean, we need to be realistic as well. We are in the world, and it is the way it is, the bigger world, right? Like, again, because we can't directly change the outer world. We can only directly change our inner world. So, yes, obviously there's a lot of stuff that needs to be changed. But again, if you're focusing on the problems and what's holding you back, they're just going to become problems and hold you back, right? Like, it's not, and like Lorenzo said, I wanted to travel, and I put it out there, and I just said, I am traveling, and I've been to 10 countries in the last 12 months. I didn't pay for that, guys. I didn't pay for that. I didn't have the money in the bank. I didn't go and buy the tickets, but I still traveled to 10 countries. So this is the thing. It's wealth that we're talking about, not money, not gold, not silver, not rubles, not whatever. It's wealth, and the wealth lives in you. That's where it is. The money and the silver and the gold and all that, that's just, the manifestation of the wealth that we can interact with. And of course, money is not evil, but the love of money is. If you live your life just trying to make money, you're probably going to end up at the end of your life going, oh, wow, I missed out on so much. I was focused on just getting the numbers in my bank to go up and up and up, and I forgot to live. Yeah, and I see this all the time. People with, big houses and nice cars, and all they do is work and work to pay off these debts so that they can go to a party on their one day off and go, well, I live at this address and I drive at this and at that. Look how good I am. And that's because they're not happy with themselves on the inside. They're living in the outside world, right? Putting in this persona, trying to influence the outside world, which you can't do, because I guarantee you that when people do this, I live on this road, and I've got 4 bathrooms and 27 bedrooms. No one's impressed. No one cares. No one cares. Everyone's got their own problems and their own life. So it's not about money. It's not about dollars. It's not about, numbers on an electronic screen. It's about wealth. Are you living well? Are you doing the things you want? Have you got good friends? If you want to travel, are you traveling? If you want, a farm and to raise animals and make your own food, are you doing that? Because again, the reality is, if you want to do that, if you want to live off grid and raise, animals and your own food or whatever, you can't do that for free. You can't do that for free. But it doesn't mean you need $1 million either. Wealth comes from so many different aspects. Like I said, I've traveled to 10 countries, didn't pay for any of it. So if you want the land or the whatever, the car, the house, and that's fine, guys. If you want a nice car or a nice house, then go for it, because that's what life is. It's about getting the experiences that make you happy and interacting with them. But if you just focused on, I need money to do that, you've kind of missed the point. You've got to just become the person who deserves it, right? The person who's sitting there who can be served what they want to interact with.
I find it suspicious that so many people, just about all of them, including myself, have trouble with introspection, have trouble with looking at themselves, have trouble, like I even all the comments I'm seeing here, and some of them are great comments. I can't say that's wrong, but I really wonder why. And that's why I think all our power lies there, because there's something in this current social system from the time we've been born, maybe going back a couple hundred years, that really beats out of us from the time we're little, the lack of self-understanding, self-awareness, knowing who you are. Know thyself, the Oracle at Delphi. Why was that the first thing there? Know thyself, not know what your money's doing, right? Not
know the man down the
whether
road.
not know whether gold or Bitcoin is better for you, right? Not know whether the children in Africa need help with your dollar so they can have a ham sandwich. Where none of that. It says know thyself. Who are you? What are you? Why are you? How are you? Like, why doesn't everyone having these comments write that down? Who am I? What am I? Why am I? What's going on? In relation to me, like the most important questions, because you can answer all those for yourself. You don't need Campbell. You don't need me. You don't need anybody. Who am I? And then you'll understand at a deeper level, even after you've understood all your habits and what's worked for you and what's not. You'll probably start to figure out you have these powers where maybe you need less food, or maybe you need less sleep, or maybe you need less money. Maybe you can start to manifest. People talk about that, make your life something different, but probably you have to see what's stopping you from manifesting that life. You have to see what brought you to a place of no money, or brought you to a place of ill health, or brought you to a place of bad relation. Like I said, point the finger back, because guaranteed it's you that brought you to wherever you are in whatever way. Doesn't matter where you were born. Doesn't matter what gender you are. Doesn't matter if you're healthy or not, or what part of the world, or how much money's in your pocket. You brought yourself to wherever you are, in my opinion, because I brought myself to where I am. So only you can bring yourself out. So basically, if I'm fusing my own energy to my own energetic systems, plugging into myself, we'll take it back to this topic of Confusionism, confused. Personally, I found for me the best thing to do is to plug into my own heart, my own intuition, and to see how I haven't been properly using them in this life. The primordial water is a good one. We're 80-90% water, and then there's that fourth level of water, and water is one of those perpetual free energy machines, actually, that done studies on that, which is interesting. Light and water, and water is always moving. So you don't need anything. If you want a house, yes, you got to pay rent, right? Yes, yeah. You want a car, you got to buy a car or have someone give it to you. If you want to travel, maybe you can do it Campbell's way. Maybe you got to pay for a ticket. Really doesn't really matter. That was Campbell's idea of how to travel. What is yours would be up to you.
Yeah. Just because I've done it that way doesn't mean that you can, because that was me. But that's interesting, because literally yesterday I wrote this down. Whoa, can you see that? Who am I? And I listed it down. Who am I? If you don't know yourself, then who are you? Like, who are you working for? If you don't know where you want to go, how are you going to get there? I see Frank said, most of the rich people I know are miserable, don't pay attention to their children, they buy stuff to fill the void. True. And then Frank said it's a relationship towards money. True. But money's not the factor here. Again, it's who you are. I know people that are wealthy, very wealthy, and they're miserable. Their kids don't like them. Their relationships fall apart. You know, their health fails them. And they're normally the people who are like, oh, look what I own. Look, you know, that, because that's who they are. That's who they're trying to become. They're working in the outside world. I also know people that are very rich, and you would never know that they've got money, but they just live their lives because it's about them. They don't care if people think that they're rich. They just want to, whatever. They want to travel, or they want to live on the beach because they like the beach, or surfing, or they want to do, and they just do it. And this is the point. It's got nothing to do with anyone else, guys. You know, I guarantee you, when you're on your deathbed, you're not going to be sitting there going, man, so many people were impressed with my Porsche. So many people thought I was cool because I lived at this address. You're going to be sitting there going, I had amazing relationships. I had amazing experiences, or I didn't. Like, that's it. Life is in the doing. You've got to, you know, we used to have an ad campaign back in the 80s in Australia, and it was called Life Be In It. Life, be in it. Don't stand back and look at it. Be a part of it. Be in it. If you want more value to come to you, give more value out. If you want more love to come to you, give more love out.
No.
It all comes from the inside. It's a Taurus, guys. It's a Taurus, right? We have value inside us. We send it out to the outside world. Then the world responds, and it comes back to us through lessons. We go, that worked or that didn't work. And then we get to make another decision, and we send something else out, and it comes back. It's a Taurus, all right? It's not a stagnant line or anything like this. You are what you are. Like, that's basically, you know, I say a lot, you know, for things to change, things have to change, but you are what you are, right? If you're poor, you know, poor in whatever sense, relationships, money, whatever, it's because you if you're lacking is probably a better word. If you're lacking in the outside world, it's because you're lacking in the inside world. All right. And running around up, jumping up and down and yelling at the outside world ain't going to change that. It's not. But going inside and changing who you are, making yourself more, it's not making yourself more valuable. It's realizing your value and becoming that, realizing what you can give. Then that will change your outside world. If you realize all the wealth is inside you, then you will have that wealth on the outside. And again, it doesn't have to be money, right? To do with whatever, friends, relationships, experiences, money, travel, whatever. But the main thing is decide what you want. Because if you don't know what you want, how are you going to get it? If you don't know where you're going, how are you going to end up there?
Yeah.
So
who you
write
are.
down, who am I?
Yeah.
Literally, get a pad, guys. Write it down. Who are you?
Tower Above the Sun had one of the best comments today. No, abundance is measured in luminosity. And I would totally agree with that. It's like, how do you make yourself shiny? How do you make yourself more...
Nice.
Yeah, how do you make yourself higher vibrational? Judgment stink was one of the older things. And I think anytime you're angry or you judge or you're sad, literally you can feel it. There's a dark cloud over me. Like all these things, literally making yourself less shiny. Right? You're making yourself less luminous. What did someone show me? It's like if you see like a sad vibration is a straight line and a happy vibration goes up and down. And the bigger the vibration, the more points of imagination get touched, right? Because if you have this, obviously you can only see, well, you two answers, yes, no, money, not, and it continues on, and people go, well, I only ever see these two things, and life never changes, so I know everything. But maybe if you try increasing your vibration or your luminosity, other ideas will come to you. If you're walking down the street happy, someone may say hello that wouldn't say hello if you were walking down the street going, life sucks and I'm horrible and I need money and the whole world needs to change. Or if you're going, well, maybe I'm still poor, or maybe I'm not happy yet, but I love the world, I love myself. Let's see what the world's going to bring to me today. Someone might say, I like your smile. I just wanted to say hello. Or it's going to change your circumstances just by changing yourself, because you will have an increased luminosity, as they said, which will increase your wealth. And it might not come in the way you think it's going to come, right? It might not come in money, might not come in gold, it might come in a bag of walnuts. I know where I came from, my dad's nuts, Kyle. Well, it might come from a bag of nuts then. Maybe you get past the bag of nuts and that'll be your wealth for the day. But even that kind of thinking, that's pretty weird, because who wants to think they came from their dad's nuts? Sounds kind of creepy.
That's nuts. um, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like, just gosh, when you mention money, man, gosh, interesting. Someone said, yeah, life be in it and pay your taxes. Well, if you want to, you don't have to pay taxes, guys. You think that the wealthy in the world pay taxes like you do? They don't. If
Not
you
at
don't
all.
want to pay taxes, then just focus on how do I get better at not paying taxes. First thing, start a business, write everything off. There you go. How to halve your tax in one simple, thing. These are all belief systems, guys. And again, like Lorenzo mentioned it earlier, if anyone, if I say something that triggers you, that's got nothing to do with me. That's got everything to do with you, because we've had this conversation and everyone in the chat, have a look at it. Everyone's reacting differently. Some people get triggered, some people don't, which means it's got nothing to do with us and what we're saying. It's got to do with how you're receiving it, which means it's got to do with your self-image, your self-belief. What do you believe about the world, about yourself? If you believe that money is, back to money just because it's an easy example, money is evil and evil people have all the money and they run the world. Well, that's a belief system. So that means that whenever people start talking about money and how to get more wealth, that's going to trigger you. When you get triggered, in my perspective, that's God, universe, whatever you want to call it, tapping you on the shoulder going, you got a lesson here. You've got something to learn. You've got something to scrub out of who you think you are. All right. Because, most people who complain about money complain about it because they don't have it, because they want things that they're not getting. Money sucks because look, I'm sitting in this house and the roof's leaking and I can't feed my children. I've never met anyone who's got everything they want and complains about having it. It's the lack. And again, the lack is not on the outside. The lack's on the inside. That's all we can change, right? Which is the great news, because you can change it. If you had to change the world for your life to change, we'd all be stuffed. We would have no choice. We would have no way of changing anything, right? But when it's your fault, when it is all your fault, and it is all your fault, just like it's all my fault, then you can change it. That's the good news. And that's an interesting statement. Every time we've said that on videos, people get triggered. But why do you think that is? That's because they're living in a space that they don't like. And a lot of the time it feels easier to blame the outside world. And like, well, great, it might make you feel good in the moment. But then the next day, where are you? Did anything change? All you get to do in that circumstance is to complain again. Right? You never actually get to go where you want to go. So, don't be confused that the outside world, changing the outside world is how you change your experience. Don't fuse with other people's belief system, because they're not yours, right? Go inside. Who are you, right? Who am I? Write it on a piece of paper. Who am I? Who am I? What do I stand for? What do I want? And become more of what you want, and you will get more of what you want.
If anybody's interested, Campbell and I still have available, 9 hidden secrets, powers, freedoms calling you to life's purpose. The links below. We did 9 videos very much related to this. If anybody wants to chat with us about it or chat with me about it, I'm open to emails and to see if something's there. I have In Love Unlimited, which is essentially all about this, how to bring, unlimited love into yourself, so you can bring what you need to bring out into the world, or the light, as it was said. And I'm seriously considering doing something called the Forever Forge, a course and or a video thing. I've discussed this with Campbell. We may put something new together. I don't spring it on him live, but we discussed maybe doing another series of videos. But it's all about the challenges, like what's a forge? A hammer gets sharpened, a hammer gets hit, a hammer gets quenched, a hammer, so you're made tough, but you have to be made flexible, or else you shatter. There's a technique about it. And everyone, in my opinion, can forge themselves into the kind of being they need to be, again, by pointing the finger where it belongs, back at themselves. And then they can cut through the bullshit, or cut through their own bullshit. Pardon me, there's no one else's bullshit out there, and that could allow you to grow into the kind of being you want. You don't need to wait for indigo children. Hi, Denise. But, no one's helping this ascension. You have to help your own ascension, again, in my opinion. Everyone's got to help their own ascension. If you're waiting for someone to ascend you, you're going to have a long wait. Maybe eat a lot of beans. You'll start ascending that way. I don't know. But
Yeah, man.
if you're waiting for anyone, if you're waiting for anyone to ascend you, it's never going to happen. Maybe after you die, who knows? But before then, we each have to pick up our own bootstraps and climb that mountain for ourselves, or else it's just never going to change nothing for ourselves, in my opinion.
When you point the finger, right, it's three pointing back at you. And then the problem with waiting for someone to come and save you is, what if they don't show up?
Yeah. What if you're wrong? Oh my goodness. What if they don't exist? I mean, where do you get these ideas? There's this person waiting. There's this politician. Who knows? Have you met any of these people? Really? Have you met all the children in Africa starving? Have you met Trump? Are these people real? Are they AIs, so to speak, or generated? We don't know anything. We're all guessing about this reality that's been told to us, especially when you're looking on the outside world, and you don't know. You can't know, but you can know yourself. That's why this it was called practical evolution. Campbell and I did a live event almost a year ago today, right? A year and just under a year ago.
October, yeah.
It was in October, and about 6-7 lovely people showed up in Florida, and it was all about.
In the chat. I think, Kat was there. She's in the chat.
Kat was here, and she came. Yeah, she was in the chat. So it's all about picking yourself to a place, or moving yourself to a place where, because if it's you talking to you, you can figure it out. If it's something else, it's all hearsay.
Yeah. I've just seen a couple of comments. Kyle's saying, and I'm not picking on anyone or trying to point anyone out, but tax-free, I'm an outlaw. And then the next statement was, I'm as bored as F. Maybe you're focusing on the outside world, mate. Maybe you're building your life around other people's conclusions of what life is. Like, this is the worst thing. Don't be bored. Bored, we bore holes in the ground, right? When you're bored, you're full of holes, and that doesn't make you holy, by the way. Again, what is it that you want? It doesn't matter what anyone else wants. It doesn't matter what the system, all your teachers, all your parents told you. That's their life. That's really got nothing to do with you. What do you want? What's going to fulfill you, right? As in, what's going to fill in those holes, the bores, the boredom? How do you plug those holes? How do you fill them up? What is it that you want? Because that's what we need to focus on, because, again, we can't get what we want if we don't know what we want, right? So everyone's on a different path. Some people are happy living in a tent out in the bush. That's their best life. They love it. Some people, that they would never live in a tent. They want a house. They want a nice house. They want nice furniture. Someone before said, learn to fix your car. Look, if you're into cars, awesome. I'm not. I would much rather pay someone to do that. And when you're doing that, this whole concept of do everything yourself. Well, look, if you're paying, and in whatever form, right? It doesn't have to be money. If you're paying, you're helping them. You're putting your value out there, right? So, and it's much easier if we all contribute to each other and we all help each other, rather than going, well, you're too expensive, you suck, I'm doing everything myself. What happens when you need a hand? It's the old question, well, it's kind of similar. If you're the mechanic and you're fixing your own cars, and then, because F the world and I don't need money, but then one day you need a new carburetor and you've only got watermelons, what if the carburetor dealer doesn't accept watermelons? It's all to do with how we can help and how we can interact. And again, what's right for you is not right for someone else. So look, if you're a mechanic, man, go for it. Like I was out yesterday, we went to a fair, and they had some MGs, like from the 30s, like MGTFs, amazing cars, right? And I actually knew, like, the guy who was there was actually the father of one of my friends back in the 80s. And he built the car. He bought it as a wreck, and he literally took every nut and bolt apart, cleaned them, rebuilt everything. And this car was, oh my God, it was immaculate and beautiful. But I couldn't do that. He loved it. That was a massive part of his life. That would drive me insane. But did I want the car? Bloody oath. If he said, "Here, have the car," man, I'd be like, "Yeah, give me that car." But this is the thing. We're all different, and that's the beauty. Imagine if everyone was the same. How boring would the world be, right? It would be extremely boring. How would you get your car fixed if you were a cook, right? How would you eat if you were a mechanic, right? We've all got our own gifts and our own things to give to the world. And as far as I'm concerned, that's all we really need to focus on, becoming more of who we are.
Yeah, because if I feel we're infinite, so if you're bored, maybe you're missing some of your, your wonderful infiniteness. I know I've been bored, and I'll go for a walk, and that will change, or I'll do something different, and that will change. So, again, if you fuse yourself to the wonder of the world, to the beauty of the world, to the growth of the world, you can fuse yourself to something beyond what you think is possible, and grow into the impossible, which is amazing. And if you haven't had a chance to do that, I recommend, maybe sometimes it's Campbell said, maybe sometimes you want to live in a tent, and sometimes you want to live in a house. Maybe different types of your life. It's going to change. Sometimes you want to be alone. Sometimes you want to be with lots of people. It's all good, and it's all fantastic. As long as you fuse yourself, I think, to your own luminosity, that's the best. Your own energy, your own, like what didn't they say water is actually light? Light was a phase of water. Someone said that a long time ago. I heard about it, which is very interesting. That, fast water is light, and then when it slows down, it's water, and that. So maybe we're all light, moving too slow. Maybe boredom is you're just being too slow in your life. Do something quick or fast. Increase your vibration. Who knows what'll come from there? In my opinion, it'll make it fantastic.
You want to move faster, yeah. Like get lighter, right? Drop some of your baggage, get lighter, but then get lighter, right? It's interesting that's the same word. And just what like someone saying, boredom is discomfort with silence. Learn, eat the silence, and fill up. Well, look, man, that's you. My eldest son is a musician. His whole life is about music. That's his meditation, and that's not silence. So what's good for one person is not good for the other. And this is the whole point that we've been trying to talk about. It's not about anyone out there. It's not about, and when it gets down to it, can you even prove that anyone else exists? Can you? I mean, seriously, can you? Everything's done in here. Can you, so this is the thing. It's all about you. Always bring it back to you. And this was this was always the first statement, right? Is don't go around telling people to change or telling people that you're right and they're wrong, because there is no right and wrong. There's no good or bad. There is only opinion and perspective. That's it. Like that. That's it. Even if it comes down to the whole unliving, right? Yeah, if you walk up to someone and go bang bang, give me your money, that's really bad. But if someone's broken into your house and they're attacking your children, you go bang bang, not bad, right? It's all perspective, guys. It's all your perspective, not anyone else's, yours. So I think that's really the crux of what we're saying is, don't get confused with your worlds. Don't get confused with what you can actually change and what you can influence, because in the end, you'll just fuse yourself to other people's beliefs. And when that happens, we become less of ourselves. So the point is become more of yourself, because you've got everything you need. You are amazing. You are wonderful. You have creativity. You have love. You have value. And the more you realize that in yourself and you live that, the more you will interact with it in your outside world.
Yeah. Fuse yourself to the idea that you have unlimited potential. Fuse yourself to that you're an energetic being instead of a meat puppet. That might change. If you fuse yourself to some of the bigger ideals or the potential for bigger ideals, only if you want to. Like I said, I'm not telling anyone to do anything. But if you're unhappy for whatever reason, maybe you can find out why you're unhappy. And I like Hamlet. Start with who am I? Start with 10 things you've done wrong. Oh my goodness, who's brave enough to do it? And I don't mean by saying I've done wrong by marrying this a-hole, or I've done wrong by letting, I mean, 10 things you've personally done wrong. You talking to yourself, nobody else in the room. So many people do that. Yes, I was wrong marrying Joe. Yes, I was wrong listening to Sally, right? So really, it's just an indirect way of blaming someone, right? I was wrong marrying that asshole, right? Or that bitch, right? Whatever. But I think in that way, you're still quietly or out loud blaming the other person for your problems. Like, why did you choose that a-hole? Why did you choose that lady, right? That's the right way to look at it, in my opinion. It's like, why did you make that mistake of getting into that relationship or getting into that job or getting into the body that's not healthy? How did you get there? How did you get there? And if you see how you got there, you can see how you can leave. So write down who you are. Who dares write down 10 things that they've personally done wrong or how they've effed up? Oh my goodness, how you've been stupid
I'd need a
or
book.
stinky or angry or who dare. Like, again, I've watched all of these comments come through, and I may have missed a few. I haven't been reading all of them because I've been, busy trying to stay up with the conversation, but I haven't seen too many that goes, oh my goodness, I was so stupid when fill in the blank, right? I made, wrong choices are still good lessons. Exactly, Dave the demo. Because there's no such thing as a wrong choice. There's only you trying to understand something
Exactly.
about your current situation. You make a
Yep.
choice, you don't like it, make a new one next time.
Yep. No mistakes, only
Fuse,
mistakes.
yeah. All right. Fuse yourself to something else. This has been amazing, Campbell. Can't believe we've gone over an hour
Yes,
already.
it's been fun. So I hope you like it, guys. Thanks for joining us. Leave us a comment. What do you think? Are we right? Are we wrong? Are we assholes? Let us know. But yeah, most importantly, what are you going to do about it? Are you just going to watch this and go, that was a nice, hour, and then go off and do your thing? Or are you maybe going to get a piece of paper and go, well, where did I mess up? How am I wrong? How is it my fault? Who am I? Where am I going? Because that will actually change something. Watching us and then forgetting about the video won't. So
No.
we hope you all have an amazing day. We're going to be back next Sunday, are we? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
we're gonna try and do these every Sunday. We're gonna come up with other ideas. We're working on part two, let's say, of our series. As it comes out, the Forever Forge or Practical Evolution, how to make yourself better. We haven't come up with a full title yet, but you can see what we've done. You can see what we're doing. Anybody wants to comment or contact me, feel free to do so. I'm happy to have all sorts of intelligent and loving interactions as part of my life and to see where that takes us because I've had so much help in realizing how I was wrong. Getting to know Campbell has showed me that a lot too. He's showed me, and not by telling me ever I was wrong. Campbell's never once come out and said you were wrong, Lorenzo. But by watching his life, I've seen how I've been wrong in the approach of some of the ways that I've been alive, and other people as well. And just I'm going to shout out live. Campbell Chie says hello to you. My wife wanted to say hi, so I said if I remember,
Yeah.
I will. So at the end of our podcast, I'll do it live. She's watching, and for all of you here, come join us again, and please don't forget to participate. We've enjoyed your company very much.
Yeah. And there's some links below that you'll find if you want to check out some more of our stuff. All right, guys, have an awesome day, and we'll talk to you all next Sunday. Bye for now.